I want to thank NordVPN for sponsoring today's video. What makes good design good? We can probably pick up when something has been designed poorly, but is there an objective way to evaluate if something has been well designed? In the late 1970s, German industrial designer and former architect Dieter Rams was worried about the world around him. An impenetrable confusion of forms, colours and noises, he quoted. And so he began to question if his own work was contributing in a positive manner, and he asked himself a very simple question: is my design good design? And so I wanted to share with you Rams's 10 principles of good design. Principle 1. Good design is innovative. When we're talking about residential design and architecture, innovation can happen in a manner of ways, whether that's through materiality, construction methodology, sustainability developments, or technology that goes inside the home. But I personally feel like a home doesn't necessarily have to be innovative to be good design. Although, if it isn't going to be innovative, it needs to get all these other 9 principles absolutely perfect. Principle 2. Good design makes a product useful. It doesn't matter how many likes it gets on Instagram or how beautiful it may look in a magazine. If the house is practically unusable on a day-to-day basis, then what was the whole point of building it? A home isn't a piece of art to be admired. A home is to be lived in. So during your day-to-day living, your home should elevate your standards, not bring them down. I mean, you shouldn't have to cut a section out of your bathroom door just so you can open it. That isn't clever, it's just bad design. Principle 3. Good design is aesthetic. How our homes and interiors look can have a huge impact on you and your well-being. And I champion that simple and minimal spaces bring a sense of calm, peace, and allow space to breathe. But I acknowledge that what I find beautiful may be different to you. So it's integral for your home to be beautiful in your eyes, because what you want to do is you want to be able to open your front door, walk in, and smile. Principle 4. Good design makes a product understandable. Now, while a well-designed home can often speak for itself, this is probably a principle that doesn't quite fit necessarily, as there may be plenty of details missed if it hasn't been pointed out. But we could probably relate this more to the products that go inside your home, such as taps, cooktops, ovens, dishwashers, all those appliances, fixtures, fittings. And I shouldn't have to go to university to do an undergrad, a master's, and then a PhD in electrical engineering just to figure out how to turn on my lights without turning on the fan as well. Principle 5. Good design is unobtrusive. Your home shouldn't get in your way of your day-to-day living. Instead, it should act as a backdrop, as a means for you to express yourself. Minimalist design perfectly allows for this, giving you a well-designed blank canvas for you to enjoy your mornings, noons, and nights. It doesn't impose itself onto you. It is not seeking your attention. It's just there for you to enjoy. And speaking of enjoyment, I want to thank NordVPN for sponsoring today's video. So, have you came across a show or a movie that you wanted to watch, but you discovered that it isn't available in your country? As someone who lives in Australia, this can happen constantly, and at times it can get a little bit frustrating. But this is where NordVPN comes in. NordVPN is an easy and affordable way for you to enjoy the full range of streaming content, having the ability to choose from more than 5,500 servers in 60 countries. But not only that, it helps with your privacy and protecting your data when browsing the internet by masking your IP address. It protects your devices from malware, and it keeps you safe when using public Wi-Fi, such as at a cafe, in the library, or at the airport. And you can keep your whole household safe with just a single subscription, allowing you to secure up to 6 devices, such as your computer, browser, mobile phone, tablet, and a whole range of other devices. So head over to nordvpn.com/simpledwelling to get a 2-year plan plus an additional 4 months with a huge discount. Principle 6. Good design is honest. Now I talk about this in my How Less is More video. where honesty is paramount to allowing the building to be true to itself, and that it's not trying to be something that it isn't. When thinking about materials, I feel it's always best to be true to the material. So if you prefer to use timber as an external cladding, then use timber. And with that, don't try and tell me that your fake aluminium timber is just as good as real timber. You are lying to yourself. Stop it. Principle 7. Good design is long-lasting. While trends may come and go, good design is timeless. When minimalist design is done right, and that is using space effectively, incorporating plenty of natural light and ventilation, clean lines, soft tones and textures such as timbers or stones, and simple furnishings in an uncluttered interior, creates a backdrop of a timeless interior. And not only that, homes need to be built to last, using quality materials with quality craftsmanship. And so if you need to demolish a home after 20 years because it's falling down and it's practically unusable, then it's not exactly good design. Principle 8. Good design is thorough down to the last detail. You're probably right in thinking that I love a good Mies van der Rohe quote, because I do. And so it makes sense for me to talk about God is in the details. When attention is paid to the small things, it can have such a big impact on how the space functions and feels. Whenever I walk into these homes, I know care has been taken when I can see every detail has been thought of, where lines may align, where the lights have been positioned, how materials end and meet with one another, how the light moves throughout the space through morning through to evening. You get the picture. Principle 9. Good design is environmentally friendly. It's very hard for me to say a home has been well designed if it hasn't taken sustainability measures. The level of sustainability can exist on a linear plane, where on one end you may have a home that just focuses on good orientation, cross ventilation, a water tank, and maybe some solar panels. And at the other end of the spectrum, you have a home that has gone completely off grid and has used nothing but reclaimed and recycled materials. And while there can be some give and take with sustainability, a home really should be having the least amount of impact it can have on the environment. Principle 10. Good design is as little design as possible. No surprise that this is probably the principle I connect most with, akin to Mies van der Rohe's less is more. Simplicity gives us space to breathe, where the non-essential details and clutter is removed to allow us to focus on what we value the most. For example, if in your home there is a particular piece of art that you love, draw attention through negative space and remove the clutter around it. If there is too much clutter around it, such as dozens of other pieces of art, then it just gets lost in all that noise. There's no denying that there's a strong connection between Rams's 10 principles of good design and minimalism. In fact, you probably could call him a minimalist and nobody would argue with you. And if minimalism isn't necessarily your style, then there may be a couple of these principles that you disagree with. But when these principles are applied to design, whether it's a lighter or a speaker, a chair, or an entire home, the design just can't help but be better. It ends up being good design.